Hello students, Standard 6. As you know, in our science, especially physics and chemistry, all the chapters are completed. So now let us start the revision of the chapter number 10 in physics. Now onward, what will we do? We will discuss some topics, and in that topic what are the questions are there, I wrote down as an assignment. We will discuss about it, and then you will write down the answers as an assignment. So let us start the revision of this chapter number 10, that is motion and measurement of time, of distances. Measurement of, actually it is distances. So here, as we know that there are different modes of transport. If you ask your friends that in the last vacation, where and how did they travel? Then some will say that they travel by bus, by car, or by train. Or somebody will tell you if they travel by the aeroplane. Maybe some of them take the chance to have boating in the cruise, etc. So there are different modes of transport. If you go to the villages, then you can ride in the bullock cart also. And as I told you, there are so many different types of modes of the transport. So now, long ago, people did not have any means of transport. Then how do they travel? They were traveling on their foot, and they have to carry their goods also on their back. Then what happens slowly? They begin to use the animals for the transportation. They sit on the back of them. Also they use the animals to carry the goods of them. In the water also the boats were used. And in the beginning the boats were very simple logs of wood in which there was a hollow cavity was made. Then later they join the different pieces of wood and give the shape of boat, and they make the shape of the boat which is imitated from the shapes of the animals living in the water, and that shape is known as streamlined shape, as you know. That is the shape of the fish. Streamlined means from the front and from the back it is narrow, and in the middle it is broad, which facilitate to swim in the water. Then invention of wheel make a very great change in the modes of transport. So which invention led to a great change in modes of the transport? That is the wheel. And the wheel, because before that animals were used to pull the goods, but then because of the wheel the carts were made and the animals were used to pull that carts, and that carts were moving on the wheels. So the wheels the invention of wheel made a great change in the modes of transport. Now, in the beginning of the 19th century, people were still dependent on the animals, boats, and ships. But then, the invention of steam engine take place, and that led to the development of new mode of the transportations, and the railroads also were made. So railroads were made for steam engine driven carriages and wagons, and later came the automobiles such as motor cars, trucks, buses, etc. Then in the water also, the boat were first driven by the people themselves using their muscular strength. But then the motorized boats were used, motorized boats, motorized ships were used, and it became faster also. And then in the early years of 1900, they saw the development of the aeroplanes, and that were improved to take the passengers along with their goods also. Electric trains, monorail, supersonic aeroplanes, and spacecrafts. These are the some examples of the 20th century. Means the 20th century inventions in the field of transportations are this one: electric trains, monorails, and supersonic aeroplanes, etc. So we saw that there are three modes of transport: on the land, water, and air. On the land you can use like the automobiles like buses and trucks and cars, etc. In the air, aeroplanes and supersonic planes, etc. In water, the boats, ships, motorized boats, submarines, etc. So that are the different transports used in the different places. Now, if we come about the measurement, especially the measurement of the land. In the earlier times, there were no units, no devices, special devices to measure the length of different things. And therefore people were using different things to measure. For example, that Bujo and Paheli had a fight, that one of them is using more part of the desk. So now teacher suggested them to measure the length and divide it into exactly two parts so that there will be no fight. So now what happens? Both Paheli and Bujo were fond of playing gilli danda. So now what they do? Bujo bought a set of gilli danda, and then he measured the length with the help of gilli danda, and he saw that the desk has the length of 2 danda plus 2 lengths of gilli. Means he put 2 times the dandas and 2 times the gillis. It means that it can be exactly divided into 2 parts as 1 danda and 1 gilli. So what did he do? He put 1 danda, 1 gilli and make a measurement, 1 danda and 1 gilli. So exactly they divide the desk into 2 equal parts, and then there was no fighting. But after a few days, that line that they made was removed, and then they had a fight again. Now the next day he bought another set of gilli danda, but that was not the same as that measurement. So now if he did again 1 gilli and 1 danda, then one part was greater, one part was smaller. Why? Because the length of gill and length of danda was not same as it was in the beginning. And therefore, here they have a problem. Same thing happened in the ancient times. Same thing happened in the ancient times because they don't had any special measurement devices. Measuring devices were not available. So what did people use? They used different things like the length of a palm. Straight palm means from the thumb to the small finger, and then they used to measure like that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Sometimes they were using the foot, means the length of that foot. They walk one over the other, and then they were using that things. Or sometimes they were using the finger length, they were using the fist, they were using the length of the arm, etc. So now, what happens when you use these type of different measurement units? That units are not the standard unit. Why? Because you know that the length of the palm, length of the arm, length of the finger, length of the foot of all the persons are not equal. They differ from each other. So, the same length, if we measure by different people using the length of the palm or the fingers or the foot, you will not get the same answer. You will get different answers. If a child will measure, it will have more length, smaller length, therefore the length of the device will be more. But if a bigger person will measure, then because of its big arms, the measurement will be smaller. And thus, there will be a problem to accept that what is the perfect answer. And so, we need a particular standard unit of the measurement. So, in the problem occurs that we use. So, why do we need standard unit for measurement? As I told you, that the length of organs of different persons are different, and therefore we cannot use that same measurement for the others. So, the standard unit of the measurement was found by the French, and the French, they make the system of units which is known as SI units, which is the metric scale. It is known as a metric scale, in which they have the different units of measurements for the measurement of the length, measurement of the area, etc., etc., etc. So they make a institute, standardized institute, and that institute is making that units which are universally accepted. It means that if you can use it anywhere, the length or the other measurement will be same for everybody. Doesn't matter, a small child or a big person can measure with using that devices and with that the standard unit, then the answer will be the same. So, in the ancient time, as I told you, a cubit was also used. What is cubit? A cubit is the length from the elbow to the fingertips. Your elbow to the fingertip. So, here to here, the length is known as a cubit. So, that was the cubit, as I told you. Then foot. People used the foot as a unit of length in different part of the world. Length of the foot used varied slightly from region to region. Then people measure yard of cloth by the distance between the end of the outstretched arm and their chin. It means that how do they use that unit? they outstretch the arm, means they outstretch the arm like that, and then from here to their chin, the length like that is known as 1 yard. Still, some of the people using that, for example, if you go to the flower selling people, right? Then they make the garlands. Then they take that outstretch and make one garland, because the normal length will be like that for the garland. So the garland making people, the flower sellers, using the forearm as a unit of length. Similarly, mutti, anguli, etc. are also the different body parts were used to continue for the unit of length. And I told you that they have different sizes, and they, in the 1790, the French created the standard unit of measurement as it known as the metric system. So it was invented in 1790 in the French. And for the sake of university, the scientists all over the world have accepted a set of standard unit of measurement, which are known as SI units, the International System of Units. In short, it is known as SI units, International System of Units. According to the SI unit of length is meter. The SI unit of length is meter. There are some other smaller and bigger also, like centimeter, millimeter, kilometer. Also the very small like nanometer, etc. are also there. So the meter is the standard unit, and 1 meter is divided into equal 100 parts, and then each part is known as centimeter. So 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. Now each centimeter again is divided into 10 equal parts. If you see on your scale, on your plastic scale or a metal scale, between 0 and 1, 1 and 2 centimeter, 2 and 3 centimeter, the 10 equal parts are made, and that each equal part is known as millimeter. So 1 centimeter is 10 millimeter. Now sometimes the millimeter, centimeter, meter are not convenient because distance are very big. Then the new bigger measurement unit is kilometer. 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meter. So we use a convenient unit. For example, if you want to find the length of the book or your length of the board, etc., we will use centimeter, right? But if you want to measure the length of the your door, the floor, or in the garden, or any other bigger devices, then we use the unit as meter. But when we find the measurement, the length or the distance between two cities, then meter is a smaller unit. Therefore, we use kilometer. So we use different type of measuring units for the different according to our convenience. And thus we are going to finish the today's session. Almost all of the questions are already discussed, and if any confusion, write down in the comment section. Thank you very much.